used to play in a backyard that was filled with garbage. Maybe it still smells on
Now
me.
let's be reasonable. There was nothing personal.
There is!
So, hey, mother, calm down. She wasn't talking about you. Let's not be so sensitive. Jesus.
Who did she mean? I can understand the sensitivity.
Now let's stop with the bickering, please.
Yeah, I think we're wasting time.
You're right. It's your turn.
All right. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow, I felt that the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. Too many questions were left unasked.
Well, it doesn't change my mind about the guilt of the kid still. I agree with you that the defense counsel was bad.
So?
This is a point.
What about facts?
So many questions were never
What
answered.
about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's take a look at that cute little switchblade. You know, the one that fine, upgrade kid admitted buying.
All right, let's take a look at it. Let's get it in here and look at it again. I'd like to see it again, Miss Foreman.
I don't see why you have to look at it again. We all know what it looks like. What do you think?
The woman has a right to see exhibits and evidence.
Okay, what do you think?
That knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree?
I do.
Now let's get the sequence of events right as they relate to the switch knife.
Yeah, the boy admits leaving the house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched. He went to a neighborhood store and bought a switchblade. The storekeeper was arrested the following day when he admitted selling it to the boy.
Now, I think we can all agree it's a pretty unusual knife. It's pretty hard to get something like that.
The storekeeper identified the knife to be the only one of its kind he had in stock. Why did he get it then?
As a present for his friend, he says.
Am I right so far?
Right.
You bet she's right. Now, I want you to listen to this lady. She knows what she's talking about.
Next, the boy claims that on the way home, the knife must have fallen through a hole in his coat pocket, and he never saw it again. Now, there's a story, folks. You know what actually happened? The boy took the knife home, and a few hours later, stabbed his father with it, and even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Everyone connected with the case identified this knife. Are you trying to tell me that someone just picked it up off the street and went up to the boy's house and stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
No. I'm saying that it's possible that the boy lost the knife and that someone else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's possible.
Hey!
Look at that knife. It's a very strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my life. Neither had the storekeeper who sold it to him. Aren't you trying to make us accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm just saying it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible.
But where did I like that come
What are you trying to do?
What is this? Who do you think you are?
Look at it, it's the same knife.
Quiet, let's be quiet.
Where did you get it?
I got it in a little drug shop around the corner from the boy's house. It cost $2.
Now, you listen to me.
I'm listening.
You pulled a real smart trick here, but this screw's absolutely zero. Maybe there are 10 knives like that, so what?
Maybe there are.
The boy lied and you know it.
And maybe he didn't lie. Maybe he did lose the knife, and maybe he did go to the movies. Maybe the reason the cashier didn't see him was because he sneaked into the movies and was ashamed to say so. Is there anyone here who didn't sneak into the movies once or twice when they were young? I didn't.
Really? Not even once?
We didn't have movies.
Oh.
Maybe he did go to the movies. Maybe he didn't. And he may have lied. Do you think he lied?
That's a stupid question. Of course he lied.
Do you?
You already know my answer to that. You don't have to ask me. He lied.
Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
What are you, the guy's lawyer? Look, there are 11 of us in this room who think he's guilty. You're alone. What are you trying to accomplish? If you want to be stubborn and hang this jury, he'll be tried again and found guilty as sure as he's born. You're probably right. So what are you going to do about it? We have all night.
It's only one night. A man may die.
Oh, come on. Well, yes, that's true.
I think we ought to get on with it now.
Alright, let's get going here.
How do you like this gal?
Well, what do you have to say? You're the one holding up the show.
Obviously, you don't think the boy is guilty.
I have a doubt in my
You
mind.
haven't really presented anything to us that makes it possible for us to understand your doubt. There's the old man downstairs. He heard it. He heard the kid freak it out.
Across the L track, she saw it.
We know he got Switchblade that night, but we don't know where he really was.
Earlier that
movies?
week, there was a fight between the father and the kid.
He's been a violent kid all the way, and well, that doesn't prove anything.
Still, you know.
I've got a proposition to make. I want to call for a vote. I want you 11 to vote my secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take any guilty verdict right now.
That sounds fair enough. Is everyone agreed?
I certainly am.
Okay. Forgive me if this is a bit informal. I've never done something like this before, but I do have these ballots over here, so I'm going to pass them out. I want you all to write down your vote. No looking at what elder and neighbor votes, and no trying to get them to vote differently. Pass down the pencils, please, and thank you. you very much. And when you're done writing your vote, please pass it down to the end of the table. Everyone must vote except for number 8, clearly. Now, I know this is silly, but if it gets us out of here faster, it's probably best. So let's all just make this quick, and I'll read the votes out, and we can all go ahead now. Let me know when I have all the votes. Thank you. Do I have all the votes? Thank you. Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please. Guilty. 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 Not guilty?
Are you serious right now?
And guilty.
How do you like that? Who was it? I think we have a right to know.
All right, who did it? What idiot changed their vote?
Is that the way to talk about a man's life?
Whose life are you talking about? The life of a dead man or the life of a murderer?
I want to know. Who?
So do I.
Excuse me, this was a secret
No,
ballot?
that's why we did it, but now I want to know.
A secret ballot. We agreed on a point, no? If the person wishes for it to remain a
What do you
secret.
mean? There are no secrets in here. I know exactly who it was. You. What's the matter with you? You come in here, you vote guilty, and then this slick preacher starts to tear heart of his stories about a poor little kid who just couldn't help becoming a murderer. So you change your vote. If that is the most sickening...
Now hold it! I agree with you that the man is guilty, but let's be fair.
Hold it? Be fair? That's exactly what I'm saying. We're trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs, and all of a sudden we're paying attention to fairy tales.
Now, wait a minute.
Now you listen to me.
Let's try to keep this organized, folks.
It isn't organized, but let's try to be civilized.
Please, I would like to say something here. I have always thought that a person was entitled to have an unpopular opinion in this country. That is why I came here, to have the right to disagree.
You disagree with us?
Usually I would. In this particular case, I agree with you. But the point I wish to make is that in my home country, I'm ashamed to say...
Oh, we have to listen to the entire history of your country?
It's always wise to bear in mind what's happened in other countries when people aren't allowed to disagree, but we are. So let's stick to the subject.
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. I want to ask you, what made you change your vote?
I don't know, too. You haven't told us yet.
Why do you think I changed my vote?
Because I do. Now, get on with it.
There's nothing for her to tell you. She didn't change her vote. I did.
I was going to tell you, but you're so sure of yourself.
Sorry, okay, now...
Maybe you'd like to know why.
Let me tell you what that kid
The
is...
woman wants to talk. Thank you. This young woman chose to stand alone against us. That's her right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even when you believe in something so strongly. They left the verdict up to us. She gambled for support, and I gave it to her. I wanted to hear more. The vote is 10 to 2.
That's fine. If the speech is over, let's get on.
If there was anything in the kid's favor, I vote not guilty.
I don't see what it is.
Neither do I. They're clutching straws.
As guilty as they get, that's a kid, I suppose.
It's that one juror that's holding out, but she'll come around. She's got to. And fundamentally, she's a very reasonable lady.
I guess so.
But they haven't come up with one real fact to back up a not guilty verdict.
It's hard, you know?
Yes, it is. But what does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt really mean?
What's a reasonable doubt?
Exactly. When a life is at stake, what is a reasonable doubt? You've got to have law and order. You've got to draw the line somewhere. If you don't, everyone would start knifing people.
Not much doubt here.
2 people think so. I wonder why. I really wonder why.
I mean, you do hear stories about innocent men who have gone to jail or death sometimes, and then years later things turn up.
And then on the other hand, some killers get turned loose and they go and do it again. They squeeze out on some technicality and kill again.
Look, buddy, now that we've kind of cooled off, I was a little excited back there. That's all. I didn't mean to get nasty. It's nothing personal.
Okay. Look, supposing you answer me this. If the kid didn't kill him, then who did?
As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy that's on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
I suppose, but who else would have a motive?
The kid's father was along in years, maybe an old grudge.
Remember, it's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This is an important thing to remember.
Everyone's a lawyer. Suppose you tell us what your reasonable doubts are.
It's not that easy. So far, it's just a feeling I've had. A feeling. Perhaps you don't understand.
No, I don't.
Feeling? What are we gonna do? Spend the night talking about your feelings? What about the facts?
You said a mouthful. Oh, look, the old man heard the boy say, "I'm gonna kill you." He heard the father's body fall a second after that. And then he saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house 15 seconds after that.
Where's the reasonable doubt in that?
Yeah, and let's not forget about that woman across the street. She looked through the open window and saw the killing, didn't she?
Now that's not enough for you.
It's not enough for me.
What is enough for you? I'd like to know.
How do you like that? It's like talking to a dead phone.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of a moving elevated train. The train had 5 cars. She saw it through the windows of the last 2 cars. She remembers the most insignificant
What do
details.
you have to say about that?
I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me.
Well, if you think about it. Here, I'm your pencil. Let's play some tic-tac-toe.
Serious right now?
Time.
This isn't the time.
This isn't okay. This is a man's
Who do
life.
you think you
Take
are?
it easy.
I haven't had my walk on this table and belt her
Now,
one.
come on, I don't want any fights
Did
in
you
here.
see that? The nerve, the absolute nerve.
Alright, forget it. It don't mean anything. How about sitting down?
This isn't a game. Who do you think she is?
Weren't we talking about elevated trains?
Yes, we were.
So?
All right. How long does it take an elevated train going at top speed to pass a given point?
What has that got to do with anything?
How long would it take? Guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
I don't think they mentioned it.
What do you think?
About 10 or 12 seconds, maybe?
I'd say that was a fair guess. Anyone else?
I think about 10 seconds, perhaps.
About 10 seconds, yes.
All right, we're agreed. 10 seconds. So what are you getting at?
This. An L train going at top speed passes a given point in 10 seconds. That given point is the window of the room in which the killing took place. You can almost reach out of the window of the room and touch the L, right?
That's right, I tried.
So, all right, now let me ask you this. Did anyone here ever live near the L tracks?
I've lived near him.
They make a lot of noise, don't they? I've lived right near the L tracks, and when your window's open and the train comes by, the noise is almost unbearable.
You can't hear yourself think.
You can't hear yourself think. Get to the point.
The old man who lived downstairs heard the boy
He
say,
didn't say it, he screamed it.
the old man heard the boy scream, I'm going to kill you, and then 1 second later, he heard the body fall. 1 second. That's the testimony, right?
Right.
The woman who was across the street said that she looked through the last 2 windows of the last 2 cars of the L and saw the body fall. Right?
Right.
The last 2 cars. The last 2 cars.
What are you giving us here?
An L train going at top speed passes a given point in 10 seconds. That L would have been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds and maybe more before the body fell, according to the woman. Now, the old man would have had to hear the boy say, I'm going to kill you, as soon as the front of the L was roaring past his nose. It's not possible he could have heard
What
it.
do you mean? Sure he could have heard
With an L train going by,
it. He said the boy yelled it out.
an L train makes a lot of
It's
noise.
enough for me.
It's enough for me too.
I don't think you could have heard it.
Maybe the old man didn't hear it. I mean, with the L noise.
What are you talking about? Are you calling the old man a liar?
Something doesn't fit.
Well, it stands to reason.
You're crazy. Why would he lie? What has he got to gain?
Attention, maybe.
Oh, you keep coming up with these bright sayings. Why don't you send him into your newspaper to pay $2?
What does that have to do with a man's life? Why might the old man have lied? You have a right to be heard.
It's just, I looked at the old man for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was split under his armpit. Did you notice that? He's a very old man with a torn jacket. And he walked with 2 canes. I think I understand him better than anyone here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant old man who's been nothing all of his life, who has never had recognition, his name in the newspapers. Nobody knows him after 75 years. This is a very sad thing. A person like him needs to be listened to be questioned and quoted just once. It's a very important thing to remember.
You're telling us you lied about something like this so that he could be important?
He wouldn't really lie, but perhaps he'd make himself believe he heard the words and saw the boy's face.
Oh, well, that is the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How do you come up with a thing like that?
I'm not making it up.
You must be making it up. People don't lie about things like that.
I speak from experience.
What do you know about it?
I'm the same person.
I think we all understand that. Thank you.
If you want to make her a liar, that's alright with me.
Now that is too much.
She's a liar. She just said so.
She did not say she was a liar. She was explaining.
Didn't you just say that you're a liar?
Please. She was explaining the circumstances so that we could understand why the old man might have lied. There's a difference.
A liar is a liar, and that's all there is to it.
Please. Have some compassion.
People, please. We have our job and our duty here.
I think they've covered it.
I hope we have.
All right. And was there anything else? Cough drops? No, thank you. Anybody want a cough drop? I think we ought to get on with it.
I'll take one. Thank you. Now, there's something else that I'd like to point out here. I think we proved that the old man couldn't have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you."
Well, I disagree.
Let's hear her through anyway.
But supposing the old man really did hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you." This phrase. How many times has each of you used it? Probably hundreds. If you do that once more, Junior, I'm going to murder you. Come on, Rocky, kill him. We say it every day. That doesn't mean that we're really going to kill someone.
But don't the circumstances alter that somewhat?
The old man was murdered.
One thing more, the phrase was, "I'm gonna kill you." And he said the kid screamed it out at the top of his lungs.
That's the way I understand
Now
it.
don't try and tell me he didn't mean it. Anybody says a thing like that, the way he said it, they mean it.
And how they mean it.
Let me ask you this. Do you really think that the boy would shout out a thing like that so that the entire neighborhood would hear it? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Bright? He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English. He doesn't even speak in English?
The boy is clever enough.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
It seems to be about 9 guilty to 3 not guilty.
Why did you change your vote?
I think there's a doubt.
Where? What is the doubt?
There's the knife.
She talked you into believing a fairy tale.
Go on, give us the reasons.
The old man too. Maybe he didn't lie, but then just maybe he did. Maybe the old man just doesn't like the kid.
Well, if that isn't the end,
I believe that there's reasonable doubt.
what are you basing it on? Stories that this girl made up? She ought to write for National Enquirer. She'd make a fortune. Look, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he? Why didn't the lawyer bring up all these points?
Lawyers can think of everything.
Oh, brother, you sit here and pull stories out of thin air. Now we're supposed to believe that the old man didn't get up out of bed, run to the door, and see the kid beat it 15 seconds downstairs after the killing.
That's the testimony I believe.
And the old man swore to this. He swore to this only so he could be important.
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran? What? What does it matter? He got there.